Good morning, old reliables, always here, and hey. Good morning. So, what's going on this morning? Who's going to get this? It's a bit of a long shot maybe, but whatever. Who's going to get this? The paper is out. Thank you for reminding me. Very good. Thank you. There were three packs to come out today. Sugasan, 2 for Sugasan and 1 for Deja. The balance right on this thing. It's hard to get the balance right. So what have we got going here? Anybody can read Japanese? It's quite a milestone day, actually. Quite a milestone here. Where's Kantar? When we need him, he would know actually what this is. He should know what this is. Calligraphy has yet to be decided going here. Not fair to put this on one person. Surely there should be somebody else who knows what this is. Hang on a sec. Let me get to my software here. Select active current series. Ah, no, I'm mistaken. Okay, he's not in there. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, there's perhaps nobody on this group who is waiting for this. So, God, that's how old this is. All right. Oh, Jacques, if Jacques happens to be here today, if our friend Jacques in Holland, if he's here today, he would know what this is. I'm sorry, I misunderstood Kantar. I thought he was waiting, but no. Koningami's close here, not Mystique. It says, Hanga tamate bako, Nihon no bijutsu. Oops, I zoomed the wrong way again. There's another hint. This is number 8. This is number 9. So you know what this is, right? People have seen this block. In fact, I thought I would scan. Here's the print. This is number 8, which was issued, I don't even know. When did I send it out? I sent it out I sent it out in May of 2014. This is now 2019. We are nearly 5 years down the road. It's my current print series. My current print series. Can I actually say this? It's my current print series. It's called The Hunger Treasure Chest, Volume 3, The Arts of Japan. And it's been sleeping for just about 5 years. Just about 5 years. And the project's here at Mokuhankan. I've got lots and lots of work to do. The carving on the octopus is done. The carving on the first print of this year's series is done. The carving team here, Chon-san and Kawasaki-san, have taken over the heroes and subscription carving. So it is now time, after 5 years, it's now time for me to get back to my own private work. I'm still not sure what to do about printing, but anyway, I can get started carving on this. Once it gets to the printing stage, I'll have to rethink what to do here. That's one reason why I'm starting this now, is because having a Twitch stream like this has provided me with 90 minutes each day when I'm forced to do something like carving. So it's allowed me now to get back to doing this. When it gets to the printing stage, I'm not quite sure what to do, because I still don't have a printing desk here. So Aoyama-san and I have started talking about that. And over the next couple of weeks, we think we are going to organize, and he's going to maybe build me a printing bench here, so that I can also do at least a little bit of printing every day and get back to my own private work at last. So this is print number 9 in my own private print series, The Arts of Japan. The series was supposed to be all about different arts. The last one was mentioning kabuki. I'll drop you a link, I guess. It's history, nobody knows where it is. It's HTTP, hang on a sec here. There's the series. This is the 8th one I touched on. I don't even remember what the themes have been because it's so long ago. But this next one, the theme is going to be, in a wide sense, calligraphy. There's nobody drawing characters, there's no calligraphy involved, but as you can see what's going on. It's a part of a larger image, which we'll show later. It's part of a larger image, a bit of a parody image, and 2 kids are washing the inkstone. The women have been doing calligraphy in the background, and 2 kids have been given the job of scrubbing the inkstone. And this is going to be the print that represents the art of calligraphy here in Japan. And I've got no idea about orders and stuff. I'm not even going to talk about that right now. First step here is just for me to get back to trying to make another print. I've been getting some emails. I had one, actually a bitter email after we sent the promotion about a month ago, advertising the new Japan Journey series. An email came from a man who had been collecting this series, and he was bitter that I had let the regular collectors go. I had ignored them for my own selfish reasons about working on the Mokuhankan project. And I get it. People had been supporting my work, and I sort of left them hanging by not sending the next print in the series. So I get the fact that he can be upset about it. He was a bit more bitter than I thought was correct, but whatever, anyway. So I don't know. There's 80 odd people waiting for this, but after 5 years, it's quite possible that some 80 of those people are not interested in this anymore. So I will send it, once I get organized with this, I will send an email to everybody on that old list, the 80 people, saying, okay guys, here's what's happening. I'm going to start to put this back together again slowly, bit by bit. If you do want the next print, let me know. If you don't, I will completely understand and no problem. So once I get those replies back from those people, and this will be some weeks from now, then I'll take stock. I'll see how many prints of the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are in stock in Ome, and I may then open the series up again. I don't know. It's too soon to call. For right now, just simply, I'm going to give it a start to get back. Another thing is I had originally proposed this series would be 18 prints long. The Mystique series I did was 18 prints. And this art series I was proposing to be just the same. But it's clearly too long. I've got 8 done. To say I'm going to do another 10, it wouldn't be practical, it wouldn't be honest, it wouldn't be fair. So what I'm going to set as the short-term goal is there's 8 done, and I'm going to propose 4 more to make it a set of 12, which would be a nice, finished, complete set. So I'll get the ideas ready for a few more, and then make the proposal to the people who are waiting. Two of them, actually, I know two of them have already passed away. So while they were waiting for my next print, they didn't make it. So I know there's a couple of people. I know there's a couple of people to knock off the list. Yeah, by 2030, so maybe. I don't know. Now, there's a few other things to mention here. There's lots actually to talk about on this. Recently here in the prints we've been making, we've had a lot of trouble with finding good cherry wood. You know, regular viewers of this know what's going on. We're struggling to find good cherry wood. We're using a combination of stuff we've found in the markets. Just a minute, hang on a sec here. We've got a noise coming up. Those of you who are listening with headphones, please be careful. I'm going to make a loud tap here in a minute. One short, sharp tap. If you've got headphones on, please be careful. I'm going to make a loud noise. I'll count it down. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's the end of the noise making today. That'll be it. And as I was mentioning, I know we're not finding it easy to get good wood for our projects here. When I was doing this arts project, I had the same problem. I had cherry wood of various types available, but it was very, very difficult for me to find wood for the key blocks, because most of the prints in this series are carved quite finely, quite delicately, and I needed good hardwood for the key blocks. So back then, it was before I started making my own blocks, like we're doing here at Mokuhankan. So I worked with Matsumura-san, the guy who was, wood like Matsumura, who was supplying wood for many of the carving. I made a special request of him. I wanted some small blocks, and I wanted them not with cherry wood, but I wanted the blocks faced with boxwood. And he at first demurred, you can't do that. Boxwood is used only for end grain, for people who are doing wood engraving rather than wood block printing. But I pointed out to him that back in the old days, that's not true. There was boxwood used as an inlay in many cases for ukiyo-e work. And anyway, long story short, I convinced him to give it a try, and he made some blocks for me, and that's what this is. It's plywood, and on top of it is a thin facing, about 2.5 millimeters of boxwood. 2.5 millimeters on one side and on the other side. And this is one of the blocks that I used for print number 8. I don't have any more of those blocks left, so I'm going to start reusing the back side of those first blocks. Out of the first 8, I should be able to find 4 more faces. So last night I went up to my little collection room and looked through different prints, and what this is, it's one of the Takamizawa small prints that I've showed you over the past few weeks in the show and tell. And unusual for me this time, I'm going to enlarge the print, put it on here and carve it. The original that I've taken this from is a small tiny postcard size print. I didn't think to bring it down here this morning. I'll show it to you later as we're doing the carving on this over the next couple of days, weeks. Months, days. Here's a grayscale version. It's going to be color, of course. There'll be colors here. Actually, I'm not sure who the designer is, you know. I forgot to look it up. It could be Kiyonaga, it could be Shunsho. It's somewhere in that era. I'll have to get more information about it. Last night I just simply grabbed the image and chose it and grabbed it and got going. Maybe Kiyonaga, we'll see. Now, this is boxwood, a really, really super, super hard wood. I know. The reason I asked Matsumura-san to produce it with such a thin layer is back when I was making a previous series, the one I talked about in the video, Remembering a Carver. I used some boxwood blocks that I had tried, and the boxwood was quite thick, 5 or 6 millimeters. And that gave it such internal strength that when it tried to warp, it was strong enough to power up and split the plywood. So when Matsumura-san and I worked this out together back 5 years ago, we decided to make the boxwood look really, really quite thin. It's thinner than we would normally use for carving. And we end up, when I was carving these, I sometimes went down into the plywood, which is a real minus because your tools hit the hard glue and end up, you have to sharpen your tools much more often. But it was a real benefit. The boxwood hasn't split, even after 5 years of having different climate variations. It hasn't popped up and split. So I think we were okay. So I take a chance with it. This is a well-aged block now. I've had the block in hand for 6, maybe 7 years. And it's well-aged. Let's give it a go. And for this series, perhaps, I don't know if you know what I'm doing here, the outlines. Here's what happens. What I did was I carved a single outline block. It's the same as for both this series and the Mystique series that preceded it. There's one outline block for the entire series, and I print every print in the whole series from this block. It has this series title, Hanga Tamate Bako Nihon no Bijutsu, the Hanga Treasure Chest Arts of Japan. There's a space next to it. So the calligraphy for each individual print will be carved on the individual blocks, but the outlines for all the prints are printed with one master block. And on the back side, it has the carving for the karazuri, the embossed pattern that goes on every print. Let me pop that previous one back up. Can you see it on the outside there? There's an embossed pattern. And it's actually got the series name hidden in there. There's calligraphy, this is backwards here. Nihon no Bijutsu Hanga Tamate Bako. So the series name is hidden in the calligraphy. It's hidden in the embossing around the outside. So instead of carving all this karazuri, all this embossing every time for every one of the prints in the series, there's one master block that I use for every print. So of course I won't be recarving this now. And today, to get this set up, what I did was, on this sheet of tough paper, I printed the outline to show where it would go, and I used the small, thin Gampi paper to position this where I think it's going to go in the finished print. That is now going to get pasted down. I am not going to carve the outlines, of course. I will carve just the image area inside. Then at printing time, I'll print the outlines from that first block, the key from this block, and we'll then move ahead to making color blocks. How many color blocks? I haven't the slightest idea. This is not going to be dramatic. It'll be 3, 4, 5. There's probably going to be a skin tone, a couple of kimono patterns. The bucket might get a color, might be a background. I'm not sure. At this point, I haven't even thought about it. It's irrelevant right now. This is the kind of image where all the line work controls everything. So when we need a color block later for the bucket, we will take that information from this key block. Anyway, let me get this pasted down and let's get started. Jacques is here. I think Jacques was collecting that series back in the old days. Whether or not he'll be one of the people who say, okay, I'll start again or not, I don't know. I can't ask anybody at this stage, 5 years after abandonment. And am I really going to promise, okay, I can make 18 more? No. As I said, I think we'll commit to 4 more on a slow schedule, a few months apart. Maybe it'll take me a year or something. I don't know. Who knows? I shouldn't even talk about such a thing. I'll commit to doing 4 more. I can't imagine making this into a set of 18 prints. But with 18 finished, I should be able to make 4 more and get a set of 12. Count me again. Thanks for the confidence, Jacques said. I don't know. I really don't know. You know, I think having this Twitch stream will allow me to get this carved, the same as it has done with the octopus and things like that. So I know I can get the carving done. My problem now is, of course, finding time to do printing. And if you just came, Jacques, you know, earlier in the stream here, I was mentioning, Aoyama-san and I are trying to work out a place. He's going to work in the room upstairs, the old party room, to figure out a place where we can get me a carving bench, printing bench ready. But it's not just the place, it's the time. You know, when you sit down to do printing, you have to do it for the day. You can't just sit down for 90 minutes like I do for these carving streams, you know. You've seen me, I sit here carving for 90 minutes and then the shop opens. Okay, bye, see you tomorrow, guys. Bye-bye, away we go. You can't do that when you're printing. You've got to get your paper ready, your paper moist, 100 sheets. It's going to take you all day to do a color or 2 colors. And it's okay right now in January, but 2 months from now, we're going to be in March, April, the tourist season. So I don't know. Here it is. It's under there somewhere. So I don't know whether this is a good idea or not, but I can't just give up. Worst peel. It wasn't that kind of a peel. Am I going to get judged? I wasn't just pasting a whole sheet, you guys. You can see what I'm doing. Worst peel ever. Go for it. Oh, Shimoi-san finished his octopus. Oh my God, when I saw the Facebook post for this, it is so rough. Is it finally done, is it? Let me have a look at this. Well, he's beat me to market on this, fair enough, because I've got so many else going on, but my God, it was so rough. Let's have a look. Oh, he's even copied the misregistration? What? Why would he do that? The hair. Oh, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this. Let's just leave it alone. I'm not being very careful with the camera setup today, am I? Sorry. The sharpening stone, I'm doing it with a mix of the traditional way and a modern steel stone. This is what we call nagura. It's a very soft kind of stone that destroys itself as you rub. And as you rub on the surface of the sharpening stone, the sharp stone pulls away fragments of the other stone and makes mud. And in the case of a traditional stone, sometimes they're very, very smooth. And it's the mud, the grit from the nagura that actually does the cutting action. Now, it's not what's happening here. I have a diamond stone here, which is plenty tough. And of course, the diamond is what's doing the sharpening. And they tell me that you don't need lubrication, that you can just take a knife and rub it all over a diamond stone without lubrication. That may be so, but I'm a little bit of a, whatever, the traditional way I've been doing it so long just feels so nice to me, so right to me, that even with a stone that theoretically doesn't need lubrication, I really want to put some on. There's no way it can hurt it. This is the middle grit. I've got three, a 400, a 1000, and a something, a 2000, 3000, whatever it is. I don't know the number. The knife isn't broken at the moment, it just needs a touch up. So we can start with the 1000 stone. No, I don't keep anything in water. I know when I was working in Ome, if you look at some of the old videos, before I got the steel stones, I was using Japanese modern artificial stones. And what you do with those, every morning when you get ready to start work, you throw them in the bucket and they stay underwater for the few hours and stuff while you're working. You can't do that with natural stones. If you put natural stones in a bucket and leave them soak, they just turn into a pile of mud. So it's really dangerous to tell people, please keep your stones underwater, because if it turns out you've got a natural stone, you will just absolutely lose it. So artificial stones are kept in water during the working day. Natural stones are not. But all the stones, the natural and artificial stones, the stones, have to be lubricated with water while you're working. These steel stones, you have to dry it. When you're finished, you have to dry it off. If you don't, it starts to get rusty. I think we're okay. I don't need a major job today. And then, as mentioned many times before, for the finishing, the third stage, I still do prefer a natural stone. It's just a quirk. We don't need this. If I had another steel stone of about 3,000 or 4,000 grit, it would be perfectly fine. If you don't have access to a Japanese traditional stone, it doesn't matter. These knives are so small that really any sharpening surface will work very well for them. I just like to keep at least one natural stone on the desk just for the sake of feeling that I'm part of a tradition still, you know. But for pure convenience, the steel stone would be better. I don't have much experience. Do these wear out? How long are they going to last? I don't really know. I try and follow the old pattern of moving around to different parts of the stone. With a regular stone, you know, you always end up with a dip in the middle as it wears out and you have to flatten it again. That doesn't seem to be what's happening with the steel stones, obviously. But whether they wear out or just keep going forever and ever and ever, I really don't know. I don't have much experience. I've had this one now for half a dozen years or so, and it's really, really done the job for me, just wonderfully. It doesn't seem to be wearing out. I'm a pretty light user. I don't know. Very, very happy with it. That's my combination again, to reiterate. When I break my knife, it goes on a diamond steel 400, and it cuts back into shape within seconds, such a small knife. Middle step, what we would call the nakato, middle stone in Japanese, I'm using a 1000. Seems to do the job just nicely. And for finishing, as I said, I use this older Japanese natural stone, not an artificial stone. I don't know the grit, but it's very, very flat. Just feels like a piece of marble. I don't know the number. It puts the final polish on the stone. So I'm not a very sophisticated sharpener, but this little setup works for me for these small blades. People working on larger blades have a bit more complicated and more difficult setup, but for me, that does it. Let's make some room on the bench here and get to work. Where's our carving spot going to be? I'll use the scope, of course, because it's delicate work and because I want to get things focused in. Where's our spot? Have I stopped doing YouTube? What? Well, no, the last YouTube went up a couple of weeks ago. I'm not quite sure when the next one will be. Hopefully not too far away. Any question here? Will I change anything when carving boxwood? Not really. I know it's hard wood, so I'm going to be careful with this, but I'm not going to specifically change anything. I'm already, most of my carving is done on, on hard cherry wood. So there's not specifically anything major to change. Where should I start? I'm really out of shape, so I should start on somewhere that's not so critical, not so difficult. I start with the bucket, kind of. We can pull away almost all the fibers of the Gampi paper and it leaves just nothing left but the toner. Doesn't seem possible, but there it is, Somewhere here I thought I had some oil, but I guess here it is. I've got camellia oil, a little squirt of it, and a little dab of oil on here. I'm not going to oil the whole thing because it makes it too soft and it might lift off, but we just oil the part that we're going to do. Now look at that, it makes it just totally, absolutely transparent. Okay, here we go. Arts of Japan series after a nearly 5-year break. 5 years. 5 years. I can't believe that actually. 5 years. Five years. That's a chunk of my life, a huge chunk of my life. It's 1989 when I sent out the first subscription print I made. It wasn't the very first print I'd sold. As I talked about in those YouTube videos that I made a couple of months ago, I had tried selling woodblock prints back in Canada. I'd gone to a few craft fairs and stuff like that, sold a few. It's just really experimental, seeing how I could, if there was going to be interest in it. It seemed there was, so I came to Japan and whatever. I came to Japan in '86, and the first print went out in 1989. And it went out as a subscription print. I started doing subscriptions in the spring of 1989. And it seems 25 years, right? 19, 12, 13, 26 years. The previous print in this Arts of Japan series, 2014, spring of 2014. So yeah, 25 years exactly. It was a quarter century exactly when I sent out at least 10 prints every year for 25 years as subscription prints. And then Wait, what? Oh, it's camera time. Already? What, wait.
It's not that early.
Well, it's not that early. I've done nothing for 40 minutes. God. Oh, we sharpened and stuff. Okay. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I don't recognize this.
Top secret. Oh my God, he's found out about it.
What is this?
What are you doing? Reading manga on the train?
Yeah.
What's this?
Dragon Ball.
You got a seat today? Oh no, standing,
sitting
strap
up
hanging in,
yeah.
whatever. So
Tachiyomi.
Tachiyomi. The Tachiyomi is for a bookstore, not for a train.
Yeah, because every day is Tachiyomi on the train. But
You're reading paper. You don't have a Kindle or something? What's how old-fashioned are you?
Yeah.
What do you do? You work in a woodblock print shop or something? Or?
the old school I worked at, they had a full set of all the Dragon Ball comics, and I loved it as a kid. And when I was leaving, they said, "You can just have the whole set." And I said,
Really?
Okay.
What?
So they gave
So
me the
it's
whole
like-
set.
Wait a minute. I saw the library markings there.
No, they're I don't know where they're from.
Yeah, on the spine. It's got a library number, right?
Nope.
Ah, okay.
just all the wording.
All right. Okay. I was thinking, what library did he steal us from? No, I stand corrected. It's okay.
And so it's been sitting in my closet for a year and a half now, and I finally got around to started reading them. They're fun.
Yeah, let's rotate this thing. Can we do
Childhood
this? Yeah. It's funny you mention that. I've never seen stuff like that. For me, manga,
Yeah.
when we lived in Japan here, we came in the 1980s, 1986 we
Yeah.
moved. And I bought a few of the then not so old, the Doraemon books.
Oh, yeah.
There was only like 7 or something in this series. I
Now
forget,
it's
whatever.
dust.
Whatever. And they were good for us because they had hiragana.
Yes.
So all three of us, me and my kids, yeah. Well, Ruby they call it, but furigana, whatever
Yeah.
it is. So, hey, let's rotate this thing. I can get to work. Just exactly. I just put my knife into wood just right now.
Okay.
5 seconds ago. And then it got interrupted. Let's try and rotate this. You know what's going to happen? We may go down. If we do, just sit tight. It'll come
We'll be
back in a
back,
minute or so. And I think there's a bunch of new people, names I don't recognize, so you might introduce yourself. This is our sidekick, Cameron, here.
Oh, it looks like they've already done my
Oh, done?
introduction.
Okay.
I'm your email answerer.
Well, I think you're a bit better status than that. You know, I still don't know. The other day I was seeing someone saying, what does Cameron do there? And I was going to say he's an office manager. That's not true. You're not a bookkeeper, though you're doing bookkeeping functions. Dave's right-hand man or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you describe it when you're telling people what you do here?
A little bit of everything. Whatever needs to be done, I try to do it.
It might be a bit disappointing for you that a great deal of your work these days is just straight bookkeeping, you know, because we're at the stage where we need someone to do that job,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we're not big enough to have a
Hire an
your girl
accountant
to
and-
do
yeah.
that, you know. So at this current stage, I've baton touched that to you, and you're doing it. But at some point, we can baton touch that to the next person. Yeah. What would you do then?
Whatever you need. Yeah.
You can't think of anything. I mean,
No, Sure. And they're calling me a henchman. Henchman.
I think that has rather a negative, whatever. Okay. Is henchman used in positive situation, or is it all just evil
I
characters?
think usually evil characters.
Okay, well, then should we accept that? or-
A goon? Oh no, this is getting worse. So what is this though? I haven't heard anything about this print. I've been gone a day and then... Huh.
Do you recognize it?
I do.
Do you know what it is?
Yes. Have you already talked to them?
Yeah,
about
I chatted a little bit
everything?
about it. You know, it's, I know, having the Twitch stream starting this last summer really helped me do carving. You know, it gets me. You know, I'm forced to do something for 90 minutes each day, and the easiest thing for me to do during those 90 minutes is
Carve.
break my knife.
Yeah.
Just snapped it.
Breaking your knife.
It's box.
Oh no.
Too busy chatting and whatever. Anyway, okay. So we have another sharpening session coming up, gang. Anyway, so but the point being, having a Twitch stream really has forced me, not just allowed me, it's forced me to get back to the bench here. So now that the octopus is carved, it hasn't even test printed, but now the octopus is carved. The first subscription series is carved. John-san has taken over the subscription work. Kawasaki-san's doing Nuclear Heroes work. So I can maybe try reinvigorating or rejuvenating my own personal print series. Carving is okay. I will be able to carve it. We know that because I can do that here on Twitch and et cetera, et cetera. I still don't know if I'm going to be able to find time and make way for actually printing these things.
Right.
But anyway, let's just sort of try and force my hand by putting this back up and starting carving.
Very cool.
Howie Emerson and I chatted about it yesterday. Maybe he'll work on a printing bench for me up in the party room there, the old party room where I've been sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, of course, I've got no tools anymore. I have carving tools. I've kept them.
But
all my printing
gone
tools,
away.
not only were they distributed among the staff has basically used them up and destroyed them.
Yeah.
My key baron, the one I used for my key blocks, they didn't use it judiciously like I did, and they wore it out. It's gone. So I have no printing tools. I have no printing bench. I have nothing. My pigment mixes are all gone with the winds. So I don't know, but this is going to at least try and force me to think about trying to put that back together.
Yeah. Very cool.
And someone just asked, is there anything special about boxwood, the way they different behave as opposed to a cherry? And I said, nah, just the same, doesn't make any difference. I'm used to carving hard stuff, putting my knife in the wood, and in 2 strokes I break it. So,
yeah. Been a little while since boxwood.
it has been a while, yeah. It's been a real while, so I should just tend to shut up more. Anyway, you live in public, you die in public, so
Yeah.
So now we do need the 400 grit, because I have broken a good 2 millimeters off the top of this thing. Keep them busy, Cameron.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Okay. We're not in Cherrywood anymore, Dorothy.
No, we're not. It's going to take me a while to get used to this, obviously. So anyway, whatever. It's all I can do. Just start pressing on. So.
Don't know how to read that. So here's my suggestion post Octopus if you want to carve more. It's the Asen Van Gogh Courtesan. Was that Unryu Uchikake no Hanaoni or something? I'm sure I'm...
No idea.
forgetting half
The
this kanji,
names
but-
of most of the old Shunga Prince series were flowery names that didn't make sense in normal Japanese. They were sort of poetic allusion names, you know. So when you try and read them without knowledge of the background allusions and stuff, it just doesn't make any sense. By the way, anyway, quick news. Just after I came on here, when we started doing this, somebody posted a link. Shimoi-san's Octopus is ready, and it's out in the market.
Wow, that was
And
fast.
somebody posted a link to an eBay page where it's on there.
And?
Let's talk about
You
it
already
later.
have it open?
I know, I don't want to.
Okay.
Whatever, yeah, go up to Google. Go up to Chrome.
Up one.
One right hand. Oh, I closed it. I couldn't bear it. Just open a new tab. Look at the history.
Yeah.
It must be the newest one in history right there. There. It zooms.
Okay.
Just a couple of reactions. First one's the color. Second is the hair.
hair is
And go to the right. He's reproduced the off register.
The off registration. Interesting. Huh.
So whatever, different concept. So whatever. You hear the crunch here, hard pressure, strong stone, just to cut as much steel off as we can in a few seconds. Once most of the steel's gone, I back off the pressure and leave less scratch marks. At the first step, what we want to do is just get rid of steel.
Should I zoom in a little bit so I can see that?
It's up to you. I don't know what's happening here. I can't. Long strokes, lots of pressure, and you get rid of steel real fast. When I started, I was all like this sort of thing, you know, and it just doesn't cut any steel. You know?
Yeah. Dave doesn't want to hop mic around when he voices his opinions.
Whatever, I know. We have our way of doing stuff, and some other people have different ways of doing stuff, so it's okay. So this is a different philosophical approach going on here.
Yeah.
It's not just a question of I am a good worker, he's a bad worker. It's a different approach, and we choose to. Whatever, you know, he's trying to maybe just replicate exactly what he sees. And even the strange color there, I know his philosophy, it's on his Facebook page. He doesn't use the modern pigments.
Okay.
He's trying to use old pigments. He goes out and actually plants stuff in his garden that he knows was used for pigments in the old days.
Turn into.
And he's trying to follow recipes. Yes, very much so. So that's kind of an interesting and a sort of honorable thing to do.
Yeah, that is
the problem is, the basic problem with that is those colors fade in minutes.
Yeah.
So even if he sells a print that's authentic using the old pigments, it doesn't last more than 5 minutes. So, so I don't know. I think it's a legitimate thing to do.
Yeah.
It's not what we want to do. I would rather have an attractive print that makes sense as an object to own for a period of time, rather than 100% authentic in that the molecules in it are the same molecules that were in the old Edo prints. You know. There's a balance, maybe, I think, to it. So what he's probably done there, he's probably looked at the same copy that I did, because it's got the same registration.
Yeah.
So he's looked at the same original copy that I did, the one in the British Museum. And he's said to himself, okay, I think it is this particular plant. It's probably Benny he's used, or something like that, safflower. I don't really know. And he's gone out and planted the seeds and grown the flowers and picked the seeds and cooked up the liquid and printed it.
Yeah.
And said that this is what it would have looked like in the Edo time when that book was first produced.
Yeah.
And I guess that's fair enough. But to me, it just looks grotesque.
Yeah.
And then the carving, that's a different story. To me, that's incompetence, but be quiet.
Yeah. Does the camellia oil you put on affect the water-based ink when printing?
No, it disappears in a few minutes. It's nothing. You know, what I did a minute ago, just before you came, I was ready to carve here, and I just dabbed very, very lightly a little bit of camellia oil, and it goes into the gumpy paper, makes the gumpy paper transparent.
Yeah.
But there's nowhere near enough to soak into the wood and stuff.
Okay.
But actually, it is sometimes. I saw Asuka-san do this a while ago. He was rubbing lots of camellia oil because it really softens the wood at the moment without losing the body to it. So you can cut some very hard things if the wood is softened with camellia oil.
Interesting.
And I guess it just sort of soaks into the pores, whatever. I don't know. I doubt we could dip these blocks in oil and expect them to behave the same, but the little surface coating like this doesn't affect anything.
Yeah. Does that need to be refilled? Your little water.
Oh, okay, right now it's okay.
Okay.
I think I'm going to be doing rather a lot of sharpening over the next few days.
Yeah.
I mean, over the next few minutes, maybe, till I get used to this.
Yeah.
This is clearly a step backwards for me, you know, after 5 years. It's been 5 years. I made a living from subscription prints for exactly a quarter century, 1989 to 2014. And that series was going well, but then we had the idea, let's open a little shop in Asakusa. So I'd come down here for a couple of months, find a rent, open a shop, then get back to my work. That was the idea. I would do Asakusa for a couple of days, go back to Ome for a couple of days, come to Asakusa for a couple of days.
Yeah.
That was literally our spoken idea. Was I so stupid? I don't know. And it's been now 5 freaking years. The last one in that series went out in, what was it, May of 2014. Wow.
Is this series all carved entirely on boxwood?
Mostly, yes, because we were having the same trouble back then. I was having the same trouble back then that we've had this year. The wood I was getting, color blocks were okay, key blocks, I was having real trouble.
Yeah.
And Matsumoto and I wrestled back and forth with it. This was before we were making our blocks here, of course. I was just buying all my wood from Matsumoto-san.
Right.
So this was, we talked about it before you came. This is a thin boxwood. He had done a few experimental blocks only before that with thick boxwood. And they had warped like crazy because the boxwood itself is so strong.
Yeah.
As it wanted to move, it would pull itself away from the plywood backing no matter how strong a bond you use.
Yeah.
So we came up with the idea of doing it as a thin boxwood layer, 3 millimeters, 2.5 or 3. And those did the job really well. Cost me an arm and a leg, but he was willing to try it, and he did, and here they are. So whatever, maybe all the prints in that series were, I have to go out and dig the blocks, I don't remember, it's such a long time.
But for the most part, at least.
Yeah, so what I'm using now is the one here, this Kabuki actor, I screwed it up the first time. I carved it once, and it didn't work. I had been clumsy with the way I had made the variation in thick and thin lines. It didn't work. So rather than tossing the concept and just move on to something else, I did it again. So what I'm using here, this is the reject block and I'm using the back side of that one. There is another block at home for that Kabuki actor's mask, which I did a better job on the second time around. This was before I was blogging. I think it's mentioned on the blog, but there wouldn't have been YouTube videos about it back then. So. In fact, those blog posts from back then have probably been lost because they're on the old style sheets, which are all broken before we went to HTTPS. So those all have to be revived at some point, you know, or just let them go in history.
Someone said, I walked away. Another sharpening? No, the same one. I'm just finishing it up now.
Well, no, it's another one. No, this is the second one. I sharpened before you came.
Oh, before I came, okay.
Yeah, I sharpened once before we started. So.
Got it.
And it may not be the last one today because it may break again. It's going to take me a while to sort this out, you know, clearly. I shouldn't be doing this in public, you know. How do I do these things in public? Show how an idiot I am, you know. People have this image, Dave Bowe, master carver. And I am kind of good at this, but it's not always perfect.
Not always perfectly smooth.
Especially when you take a 5-year break and then come back and say, hey people, watch me do this. You know, hold my beer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I lost any sense years ago that you should try and hide your defects and, you know, don't let people see the bad parts. So it just doesn't matter, you know. We're all in this together. We're all good at stuff and bad at stuff, and we're never good at everything. And there's always stuff going on, and just whatever, just show it and chat about it. And,
be a human.
Yeah, be normal, and people will go with you, you know.
Yeah.
I really hate being pretentious and to try and hide this stuff and pose myself, get this all worked out, and then here's how it works. You know, I hate that. You know, I can't see where we are, Sarah. So it's probably moved though, right? Let me get the location first. We're going to be there. Carve for a few seconds and then break it again. This is hardwood. Anthony, this is hardwood, you know. What I could do, if I break it again, you know, the angle of the blade here is actually not too acute. I would really like it to be more acute to get some sharp lines. There's lots of curves, the little toes and stuff like that. So what I should maybe do, it's just going to break again in a few minutes. So what I should probably do is sharpen it again, this time at a more obtuse angle. Less chance of breaking, and spend a couple of days carving just straight lines. Skip around the image, carving straight lines and parts that don't need curves and stuff. That'll let me get back to a feeling of what this wood is and stuff like that. But the more acute it is, the more, of course, the chance is of breaking the tip. So I should actually be a bit more sensible. There's the previous tip. Can you see it there?
Oh, yeah.
That's the broken tip. We're going to see another one, I think, in a couple of minutes. Let's see. No idea. Make excuses before I even screw up. You know. It is hard, you know. Yeah. The hardness is expressed in sort of resistance. When you go into a piece of cherry wood, you know, we've talked about it before. Pull 10, push 9, and you slide through the cherry wood like butter, hard butter. But this one has a much more resistance. And I'm pulling with 10, pushing with 9, but it's not allowing me to move. So I'm pulling with 11, pulling with 12, crap.
Yeah.
There it breaks. You know? So it's going to take a while for me to get a feel for this. It's really, really different. Whatever, it is what it is.
Dave keeps saying it's going to break again. Is it inevitable, or are you just not used to
I'm not used to it. No, it's me. This is 100% me. This is not the bad material or bad tools or bad whatever. It's me having to learn the proper resistance on this wood. And also any tiny sideways. Well, this is simply me learning how to do this. It's like somebody, when people are just starting woodblock printmaking, they say, what should I start with, cherry or plywood? We say, please start with plywood.
Yeah.
Because if you start with cherry, you're going to break it every few seconds. Every few seconds, you know. Yeah. And I'm, without being, you know, pretentious about it, I'm back at that stage right now for a few minutes here, you know, till I get the feel again for what this should be. So I was a bit careless a minute ago just to slap it in and start carving. You know. Who do I think I am? You know. 5 years is 5 freaking years. You know. So no, this is not the materials. This is me. These materials are perfectly carvable. Just got to be careful with the way you apply the pressure.
Sanity Star, thanks for joining us, saying they're so excited to see you stream. Said I've been watching your YouTube channel and now I find out you do live streaming. So thanks for joining us today. And yeah, someone already mentioned there's an archive of other streams too. There's always something different on here: carving, preparing paper, doing
Well,
things
not
on the shelf.
always something different. There's a rotation between.
There's a rotation of
jobs,
different
yeah,
things.
whatever.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do here, this is something interesting. This print would originally have been probably an Oban size print back in the old days. But the one I used for my starting point here is one of those Takamizawa tiny postcard prints.
Oh, wow.
So unusual for me this time, I have expanded the original design instead of shrinking down the original design. And I didn't think about it well, but what I realize now is there's a lot of places there where they've simplified the design. What they've done, this rope on this bucket, they just cut a straight line here along that and then made angles. And when you see it in tiny form as a postcard, it looks like a rope.
Yeah.
But if it had been done as an Oban size, you would have seen a little curve here.
Bumps
This
for
thing will be
each
curved. So I think it's appropriate that I probably do that because we're doing it at a sort of intermediate size. We've blown these boys back up. So I'll be doing things like this. I'm going to try and maybe just put a bit of a shape on each one of these things here. Instead of making it a flat line for this rope, just put a little bit of shape on each one of these pieces to give it the effect of being actual straw rope here. I'm waiting for this thing to break and explode.
Gorpinster asks, I assume boxwood lasts longer because it's harder. Is that the only benefit? No, it also holds finer details. Is that
There's two big merits and one big demerit. Like I said, finer details. You can carve physically smaller on this because the wood itself is denser. It's physically harder. So yes, it does last longer. It doesn't wear out as much once you're in the printing process. The downside is that because it's so dense, moisture doesn't go into it as well when you're printing. So it's difficult for us to print sometimes because we're printing with water-based pigment on the plank. Wood engravers, Western wood engravers, are using boxwood, and they're not carving on the plank, they're carving on the end grain, but they don't use water-based ink, they roll on oil-based. So oil-based just sits on the surface, gets picked up by the printing process. So it's difficult for us to print boxwood with water-based inks because the water doesn't go down into the surface of the wood. So it's a real demerit. And if a print like this with just outlines is really easy, but there's a couple of places here. One is the boys' heads, the hair mass here, and one is these inkstones, which will need to be a smooth, rich black, and that's going to be tough here. And it could be that I'll fail, and when we print it, the boys' heads will not be a jet black, that they will be a kind of a grayish tone. And maybe if I don't do it well at all, they'll be blotchy, where you can see the water was sitting on top of the block. So I'm hoping I'll be able to get away with it, but that's going to be a touchy point. This is not a good wood for water-based printmaking. But the benefit in this case, the fine line carving benefit outweighs that.
This design right now is partially covered by the Gampi paper, so I can't see the fine details. Does it have some really, really fine lines? That
Well, the boy's hair.
That...
The boy's hair.
Okay.
Well, the whole thing is really quite delicate. There's the water pouring here, the boy's hair, toes, fingers.
Yeah, the toes and fingers. Okay. So that makes it, or I guess is what made you want to use boxwood versus
If we had
cherry.
had good cherry, I would have just used cherry. This is fine. This is normal Japanese traditional wood block printmaking. But I don't have any wood for key blocks.
Right.
I don't have any. Everything we've got, the stuff we've chopped ourselves in the mountain, the stuff we're buying from Matsumoto-san left, those old Kyoto blocks we got, they're all soft. They're all color blocks. So it's in a measure of desperation for me right now that I'm using this boxwood, which I have. So no, it's not that this print absolutely, utterly demands boxwood. It's that I don't have anything else remotely suitable for key blocks. the series we're doing with Jed this year, we're lucky in there in that his key blocks are not, you know, fine grained, full of detail in people's hair. They're just sort of outlining things. So we can get away with using wood that is really not actually so hard. I guess not sure, should we mention that? I chatted about it a little bit yesterday's stream. The series is closed now. The Japan Journey series is closed. We're at 200. And it's not limited edition closed. It's not that you've missed it, tough luck, you're out of luck. We are going to make some more. But just when is going to completely depend on as we get the printing resources to be able to do that, printer resources. And at the moment now we are in desperate trouble. We can handle this new job, the Japan Journey series, but it means the printers are going to be moved off other stuff. And right now, January, February is the time we should be printing those prints for the shop, all the ones that we call Tamping, the old cinema albums. Because if we don't spend the next 2 months building up stock, March and April and May is going to decimate us. And that's now the biggest problem facing me, because the girls, Sugusan and Ishikawa-san, they're doing only subscription on Heroes. And that box behind you is going to be empty in another 6 weeks. And I don't know what to do about that. I really don't know what to do about that. I should maybe be myself, talked about getting a printing station set up. Forget about fooling around with work like this. Dave should just maybe become a staff printer for Mokohanka. But can I really do that? Can I get up there 8 hours a day and print and get away from the shop? I don't really think that's possible. In carving, I can carve a few hours and sit up and go to the shop and do a print party and come back and carve and go and do a print party. You can't do that
Printing
when
something
you're
that
printing.
it's not easy to start, stop, start, stop.
You
start,
can't.
stop.
Yeah, it's not just a question of your own mental focus.
Right.
It's a question of the paper moisture control. So I don't know. It's good news that we're sold out of that subscription series, but my God, arranging the workload here, I don't know what to do. Did you see the email I wrote to you last night, the Wednesday update? Okay, I sent you an email this morning.
Okay.
We were probably on the train, updating you on what I did yesterday when you were off.
Thanks.
I started a new folder on awaiting journeys. Journeys waiting, whatever it's called.
Already.
Yeah, they're coming in, of course.
Yeah.
They're coming in at the same pace that the orders were coming in.
Wow. It's the popular series this year.
Yeah, it could eat the whole company if we're not careful. So. So that reminds me of something I was supposed to show. I have test proof of number 2.
All right. Ishikawa-san's or Suga-san's?
It's Ishikawa-san's. So Suga-san's not quite ready yet. She's done her first block proof, but not. And this is going to look much better than the Photoshop version. You know, Jed was worried about putting the Photoshop version on the website because it looks, I forget the word he used, bland. No, I forget what he
Flat?
said.
No, I don't know what he meant.
I was a bit upset because if you think it's bland, why did you send it to me in the first place? I forget what word he used for it. Anyway, so he thought, no, let's put something more interesting on because he thinks the newer ones we've done, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, are more interesting. Anyway, but I knew the Photoshop version was a bit flat and soulless, but the woodblock print version is fine. It's got this wonderful, it looks sort of like a, I don't know if it shows on the thing here. The paper comes up with a beautiful, embossed. You know, the snow actually comes up as a 3-dimensional
The snow is really
thing.
popping out of the paper.
So.
That was very cool.
And it's got a good, the grays and, putting the balance back. One thing we really can't do because it's flat is this ski lift should probably be grayer and lighter in the distance than it is in the foreground. But there's no way to do that without very, very complicated gradations and stuff. But I'm happy. It's a simple, clean print. And the mountain tree, the mountain pops.
Yeah. That's really nice.
And I think we got a good balance between the snow on the mountain and the sky and the foreground snow.
Yeah.
Suga-san was saying, no, it's 2D, but it looks like water. But no, I think it's okay. Suga-san gave me a softer, lighter version. So anyway, it's on the way. Number 2 is on the way. It's not the most dramatic image, but it's okay. It's fine.
So, incredible. It has depth. On paper, it looks so much better than the Photoshop version. People are...
Yeah, they do. I mean, our work, that's the way our work is done, so.
There, that's good. Is that a specific fountain?
If you have to ask that question, then we have failed. I mean, that is...
Very specific.
It's a very specific mountain, unless Jed has screwed up. I don't recognize I asked him, when you're using real places, if you're using this temple at Asakusa, go to Google and find out what the actual carving on the temple looks like. And I said, if you're going to show Mount Fuji, please get at least a basic consensus of the way that the snow flows and the way that the valley is built on Mount Fuji. And whether he followed what I was doing or not, I believe this actually reflects the actual shape of the mountain itself.
Yeah.
The other thing too, I was curious about, this is Mount Fuji, which is fairly isolated. There are not too many high mountains near it. And I was curious, wait a minute, is there a high snowy mountain with ski on it near Mount Fuji? Yep. And of course there is, absolutely. Yep. Of course there is. I was afraid of making sort of a dorky mistake. You can't see Mount Fuji
from any ski resort,
whatever, or something like this, But yes, there are many around. So we do.
It is always Mount Fuji. There's a mountain in the Japanese woodblock.
No, that's not quite true, but whatever. It's and it's a bit misleading too, because I said we were not going to make this series famous places of Japan. And yet here we are. We started with Asakusa and Mount Fuji, but that's not the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Ueno Park, but there's nothing that specifically tells you that it's Ueno Park. It's a generic view of people in a park in Japan. So. Mm-hmm. And then some of the rest of them, he has made them up. I saw his sketchbook and what turned out to be the print, and some of them he's just made up completely. So no, it is not famous places of Japan. Really gun shy at the moment on this wood, but it's okay. Fine. That's life. You didn't see the email then about the screw up I made over the weekend?
No.
We got the package of prints from Numabi-san. He brought the latest batch of Yoshida and Hasui prints.
Yeah.
We're going to get him in the shop this afternoon.
Okay.
When I got the package, it must be Monday when you were still here,
Yeah.
I went through the website updating. We've now got this in stock, got this in stock, we don't. And some of the prices had been borked by a software update.
Oh, yeah.
So I went through and checked all the prices and fixed them. And while I was doing one of them, I typed our base price into the web form in the wrong place. Mm-hmm. So that when I clicked the button and said make the web page, it used the wrong price and it put a higher price on the web page than it should have done.
Okay.
So these prints should all have been $290 based on what he's charging us and the fair price in the market. One of them didn't come out at $290. It marked it as $405 instead.
Oops.
I didn't see this. So whatever. So hearing this story, I thought at some point a customer should have written, "Why is this one, outrageously expensive?"
Yeah.
That's not what happened.
3 days.
No, that's not what happened. What happened is somebody bought it.
Oh no.
It's a regular guy, a regular purchaser. He's got a bunch of other Shinhanga prints.
Yeah.
And he just bought it at $405 instead of $290.
Ah.
Okay, well, the reason I'm telling this story is obviously what we got to do. I immediately changed on the webpage back to the $290.
Yeah.
And so you have to make a refund this morning after I put the information in your notes.
Or we could raise all the price. No, I'm just kidding.
It's an indication of where we are in the market. We're trying to be fair on those things, but we're maybe being too fair. I don't know. Anyway, he was happy. So he was happy to get it, and he'll be even happier when he gets your email this morning.
Yeah. Great.
But I did punch it into the system so that it could get shipped yesterday. So we've already shipped it.
Okay, you've already shipped it. Sounds great. I wanted to say, even though I've subscribed on YouTube, David's videos didn't show up often unless I specifically search for them in the activity feed. Or you can click, what is it, a bell, a notification
This is
icon?
nobody understands. YouTube, I'm really sort of upset with this about YouTube. The common feeling is that when you subscribe to somebody, the thought is that you're going to get notifications when they put up a new video. That's not how YouTube's system works. It's so counterintuitive.
Yeah.
I don't even know what subscribe means because you don't get notifications. You have to go to your YouTube control panel, whatever it's called or whatever, and you have to click the part that's called notifications.
Yeah.
And there's a little bell mark. And if you click the bell mark, it then says, do you want to receive updates when this channel puts up a new video. And you have to specifically opt in for every one of your subscribed channels.
Yeah.
And if you do that, then you'll get an email when I put up a new video saying, hey, there's a new video available on such and such a channel. I'm really sad about this. I don't know why YouTube does it this way. You don't get notifications. So what does subscribe mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be subscribed? Just means I like this guy, kind of cool stuff. Maybe I'll come back again. That's all it means. It gives you sort of bookmarks so you can come back again.
Right.
And that's all it does.
Yeah. Gorpinster says, I was just browsing the different prints on your website and I suddenly saw English Bay. As a Vancouverite, is there an ETA on the reprinting of it? I think actually.
It has been reprinted. It's waiting for me to fix the story. That's right.
That's all.
So what's the ETA on that? I don't know, Cameron. Never. I don't know. Any minute now. Real soon now. I'm sorry, Guy. I don't know. It's one of the things on my desk. And Cameron, every few months, Cameron says, Dave, here's something you could do real quickly over the next couple of hours, and it would help get 6 prints back in stock.
Yep.
Can you bug me some more about it, maybe?
Yeah. A little more often. Okay. What are you doing after this, Dave?
Sorry about that, Guy. Whatever. Yeah. It really is an infinite list of things to do, and you're right that spending some time on that one. Yeah. Although part of the problem, honestly speaking, it's not just me, it's the Japanese translation, right? Mm-hmm. Even if I do a little story for it, the next hurdle is getting into a nice Japanese.
Native sounding.
So it's not actually totally just me. No. In fact, now that I think about it, have I actually done my part on that one?
On that one, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. Okay.
This is true. It's like it's happening in slow motion today. Dave is just waiting for this knife to break, you know.
That's the extra caution is preventing it from breaking.
Well, I'm also learning. I'm just taking it easy, feeling how it goes here.
Someone says there might be a legal reason for the notification issue.
What?
In some countries. It says, I'm pretty sure it's because there was no middle ground. I want to list new content without being spammed with notifications. As time goes on, more and more people subscribe to ridiculous amounts of channels, so your phone would never shut up if there wasn't a way to mute the channels.
Well, then there is. I mean, when you
unsubscribe.
Or I think what it should do, if I was designing it, when you at the point you click subscribe, a little window should pop up saying, do you want to receive notifications from this channel or not? And you can just say yes.
Yeah.
And of course, anytime you can go turn it off. But it doesn't tell you that. You just click subscribe and it just says subscribe. Nothing happens. And there's a general thinking that subscription means notifications, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's my beef with it.
Yeah.
I've got like 60,000 subscribers, but anytime you put a new video up, the newest video is already a month old and it's only got 29,000 views.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Anyway, I'm happy with YouTube. It's keeping us alive. It's really, really good for us. It's saving our business. I'm gloriously happy with YouTube. That one specific thing I find frustrating as a content provider. They've put subscriptions as opt-in and notifications as opt-out without telling people what they've done. So. See what we did first here? We did a relief cut.
To give it some room to move.
Yeah, exactly. So I cut this side of the groove and then this side of the groove. That's okay, we're just cutting the groove. Both wood was solid wood on both sides. But now they want to cut a thin line. If I had just come down here and cut on this side of the line, it's solid wood all across here and only a thin line on one side of the knife. So that puts a lot of pressure on the line. So I cut the relief cut first, so that when it came time to cut the line just now, look at the wood. The wood is free to move on this side. I'll break it out so we can see what's going on here. The wood is free to move on this side without stressing the line. So that leftover line, the sort of Mount Fuji shape on that thing, has been totally, absolutely unstressed. The only wood that was stressed was this part, which we are going to throw away anyway. the years it took me to figure this stuff out, you know.
Now you're just handing away your knowledge.
Whatever, sure.
It's a good thing.
Go on. It's not like it was secrets kept from me. You know, we get this all the time. People say, man, those old guys were so selfish they didn't tell you what's going on. It's not the case. They were just busy and working, and I was just watching. Even in the old days, if I had joined a workshop, nobody would tell you this stuff. You're supposed to lean over and watch the guy and figure it out for yourself. The thought is clear. If you're not smart enough to figure it out for yourself, you're not going to use that knowledge sensibly anyway. There's kids that can work it out, and there's kids that can't. And the ones that can't, telling them how to do it doesn't help. This is going to be fun, you know. I'm going to get used to doing this. It's a nice piece of wood, really, really hard, which is suitable. I like this. Yeah. Once I get over my fear of breaking this thing, once I get a bit more comfortable with it, it's going to be a very pleasant job carving this. Printing, I don't know. Again, we'll work that out when we get there, so I don't know.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is I'm not sure what to do with the series. There's 80-odd people. Jock was here earlier. He said, okay, good, sign me up again, so he's fine. There will be people who say they'd be happy to continue.
Yeah.
But as you know, there's been emails from people who are really, really upset. And the guy who got
But it's taken a while.
Yeah. They feel I abandoned them. So when I get closer, I won't do it yet because I'm still not sure what's going to happen. But when we get closer, say when I start printing this one, I'll send emails to all the old subscribers from 5 years ago. Tell them what's going on, that I have a chance to get it back. And if they want to take a chance on me again, let's go for it. You know?
Yeah.
And people like Jacques, I guess they're okay. They'll sign on.
Yeah.
And we'll cut it down. The original plan was 18. There's no way. I've got 8 finished, so we'll schedule 4 more to give it a set of 12.
Ohio gozaimasu.
Oh, good morning, good morning. Soka, soka.
Still on stream?
Yep.
Stay on stream.
You can join
Soka,
us.
soka.
Darth Bash 1945 says, can you ask Dave about an internship or something? Unfortunately, we just don't have the capacity or
No, it's
place
impossible.
to do it.
It's for a couple of things. Well, one is that there really aren't too many jobs to do around here that people with absolutely no training can do. You know, it's not like an office where you sit and make copies or something or whatever, you know. We don't have a structure in place where there's jobs that an intern can come and do and help us with. It seems a bit silly because we're desperate for workers, but we're desperate for trained workers, you know, people that can help explain in the shop, or people that can do printing, or people that can run print parties and stuff. It's not a job that a drop-in person can help us with. We're going to spend more time explaining to you what to do than you're going to help us with. So, and the second thing is, of course, when these people are calling from overseas, there's the whole travel, accommodation, visa, everything else going on. We have no capability to support people, support their life, you know, while they're here in Japan. So I have no easy answer that we would if we were a band, a North American-based company, you know, with a bigger history and more generic jobs in the company. You know. There's 3 or 4 over the weekend, or since, you know, in your mailbox that I passed on.
Oh, wow.
People ask about interns, apprenticeship, or working as a printer.
Yeah. Why is Hydralisk asks, will the sweat from your hands cause the pattern to smear or fade? And someone said, it's too cold to sweat.
No, I don't have any specific sweat, but you notice what I've done is I put a bit of oil here on this area right in front of me, but not on
Slightly off. No. Sorry. There you go.
I know I rubbed the Gampi off to level 1, but not all the way off.
Yeah.
because yeah, my hand just rub around, rub around, rub around. It's not so much the sweat of my hand, just the abrasion. While I'm carving this zone, my hand is rubbing here. And I learned if I took it all off, took all the gampi off and put oil on everything, then yes, it does break down the lines on this zone. So I've left this covered. I'll come and peel it off when I get to it. Okay. So I peel it off bit by bit by bit. When you saw me do the peel the other day for Kawasaki-san, great peel, 10 out of 10, blah, blah. I peeled the whole thing off. That was just a level 1 peel.
Yeah.
I left plenty of gampi that she would then use her finger to pull off as she exposes bit by bit when she's carving.
Yeah.
I got a 0 peel today. Look at this. It was just glued down all over the thing. So
Well, the Connolly list.
I didn't think I was in competition, but I forget somebody said -10 or something. I don't know whatever. I didn't think I was in a competitive environment here.
Yeah.
It seems you can never relax. I'm never off stage, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Kira-san, do these people know who you are yet or not? I don't really know. Have
Yeah, I've been on the stream, I think, Monday.
Okay,
I was
alright,
on stream.
Oh, hello.
That's right. We talked about flea market stuff, and we haven't actually got to that yet. But
No,
whatever.
no.
So.
Yeah. And no, you okay?
No, Tuesday I didn't, of course.
Yeah, I know.
That was the
Tuesday you were
plan,
not
but-
feeling too good.
Also, I was a little disappointed at one thing. You guys got that package together for Kanai-san.
Yeah.
You didn't send her the snack that I was going to take. I mean, that would have been kind of a nice thing to do, you know?
And they said, well, usually
Send
you
it,
give
of
omiyage
course. Oh,
in
give
person.
me
I was
a
like,
break.
sure?
Also, I was lying there semi-unconscious, and like that went on for about 2 hours. And I'm thinking, it took 3 people 2 hours to send those 2 packages. And I mean, what? 1 package or 2 packages? There?
They did do it in 2 because they
Couldn't find a
because
box to
they're
fit. They had no
weird
brainer,
sizes,
you know,
yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah.
did it? I was just sort of semi not conscious, but did it really take 2 hours for those guys to do that?
No, it wasn't that long.
And you did talk to Kanai-san. You did phone her.
Yes, yeah. She knew what was happening.
I saw when I finally came back to life and saw the email, she had sent an email the evening before saying, hey, you know, take it easy, let's have lunch together, we'll prepare for you, stuff like that. So they must have got a lunch ready and things, and I just didn't show.
Well, they called early enough in the day that
All right,
it was
okay.
before lunch. I'll take us.
Good morning. Hello. The gang, the clan is gathering. And what Cameron was asking about it, he said, did I have a chance to go out to Akihabara and get a computer for you for that flea market work? No,
Not yet.
I crashed Tuesday out of here, crashed badly, so didn't have a chance to do that. So today's no problem, just again, hang on in the shop. There's more packing work to do. He did some packing the other day. There's a whole bunch of new prints arrived Monday night that need packing. And there's 3 parties today you can watch and help and go on with. So there's lots for you to do, so don't worry about that. But
Good, good. I'm happy with backing. It's quite amusing for me to do.
Perfect.
I'm sitting in silence, watching me slowly
Work your way through
nibble
these
through
lines.
this. You know. This is what they should go very quickly. This is easy stuff, you know. Cut, cut, chop, chop. These wires will go through one. This is easy production work, you know. So it's a little bit embarrassing for me to sit here so what's the word? Nibbling away at this so carefully. You know.
Taking it at a deliberate pace. It's methodical.
Okay, fair. So.
There's that. Thanks for answering the questions for Living Running.
Chat answers.
Yeah, about what kind of wood you're using and things we've already talked about a couple times today. Let's see. I always wonder about the registration mark or notch that makes sure the paper is lined up properly for each block to ensure the colors don't overlap or have spaces. Is there a way of measuring how to put it on the block, or is it part of each design before carving? No, it's just in the corner, and you make sure that it's in the same position for each of the blocks so that they all line up right. I don't know another way to explain, but
It's a really simple thing that's difficult to explain without having the picture in front of you to show
Right.
what's going on. You know,
yeah.
having tried the registration marks, start off basically randomly. There's a key design which you carve outlines on, and you cut a mark. And it doesn't really matter at this point where it is. You cut a mark, a couple of marks on the block that's going to be your key block. And it doesn't matter if you carve them closer in, the print will have smaller margins. If you carve them farther out, the print has larger margins. You decide what you want, carve your key lines, and put the registration marks there. And that's the moment that the definition of their position comes. And then what you simply do is you print this thing. You print your key block, and you include the registration information. And you either put ink on the whole thing and print it so you can see the marks, or you put the paper in the marks.
Yeah.
But either way, when you do your first printing from the key block, the location of the registration marks is included in the information. It becomes part of that print. You then move on to starting your color blocks, and you saw me do that this morning. I cut marks here on this block any old place I wanted to, but then at the time that I glued in the transfer sheet, that's the time that the registration gets transferred to what will become the color block. So again, it's difficult to simply say in 25 words or less, but if you go back to one of the old videos where the whole process is outlined from start to finish, and you watch it happen, you know, in real time, then it goes, aha, now I get it.
Yeah.
But the point is simple. The key block, the one with the outlines, this is the one I'm carving now, is the one that defines the location of all registration marks. And for color blocks, you transfer the information from the key block.
Wow, this bot has answers I didn't even know were part of its programming yet. There's one for carve depth that talks about how deep you carve, depending on how big the space is between lines and stuff. Thanks. That bot's working hard for us.
I'm not sure if it's been updated yet, but it says the current subscription print is Legendary Loot still.
Oh.
Last time I checked.
Where on our Twitch page?
Yeah.
Okay.
The bot commands.
Oh, the bot commands. Okay. There's our bot man.
Is that open source? I mean, does anybody go to GitHub and can change those commands, or is it only the young man who built it who can do that? I don't know the background structure on this.
You don't know the commands by heart, Cameron? No, I don't. Sorry. But
if the commands were user updatable, it would help, so that
Yeah.
you know he didn't have to ride herd on this. So, I don't know. Because some of them are going to be changing all the time. Good morning, hello. No, there's going to be commands that never change, and there's going to be commands that need to get updated all the time.
yeah.
I got to talk to him about this. He comes in the room, and the room just gets full of stress because he's got the idea that I got to look busy, So he goes bang, bang, bang. He's working at 110% to get the lights on, get the floor scrubbed. Cozy, son, just relax. We can do these jobs peacefully and slowly, without stress.
Yeah.
He's always filling up the cup to go and water the flowers outside. You know, just please slow down. You know, I get it. He's enthusiastic. I'm not shooting at the boy, but the stress level just dials up. Doors bang, stuff goes on. You know.
Well, hi, was I'm. It is 9:34, in case you're.
Ah, okay, right. Let's wrap this up. It's getting kind of busy around here.
Yeah.
まだ連絡ないです。だからもう一回今日もう今10時から連絡しますから。今仕事ちょっと待ってください。今スティーブ、キャメさん、Shutter's on. Okay, it's
we're out of here.
It's Thursday today. What day is it?
Yep, Thursday. So we'll be back
tomorrow.
again
We're
tomorrow.
back, and I think we know what I'll be doing here
Great.
for the next little while.
Okay.
Sign us off. Thanks, gang.
See you all next time.